up, all my fight fans? So, this past Saturday night, we had Jake Paul taking on, in somewhat people consider his toughest challenge, in Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The fight pretty much went almost as expected it would go. You know, Jake Paul pretty much winning majority of the beginning rounds where Chavez just refused to throw. Chavez has always been like that for the longest as I've seen him. You know, he's never really been a real good offensive fighter, or maybe just in general doesn't like throwing a lot of punches. He's always just waiting all the time, and he's always having this really late start. Ever since I saw him fight Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Sergio Martinez back in 2012, he's always just waited and just refused to throw punches. The guy just does not like to let his hands go, especially coming from his father. You know, we all know the great GOAT, Chavez Sr. Guy loved to throw his hands. Guy loved letting his hands go. His best defense was his offense. Where Chavez Jr. is just, the guy could literally throw 5 punches in 3 minutes. And not a lot of those punches are even going to land. It wasn't until round 9 and 10 where Chavez Jr. finally decided to let his hands go, and he actually looked really, really good doing it. He actually was connecting with Jake Paul. I almost felt like slightly a little bit, he may even put down Jake Paul. It just feels like Chavez Jr. has no confidence in himself. He has no belief in himself that he can actually win. So it's very disappointing that a former middleweight champion of the world, a great fighter, I want to say considered a great fighter, a good fighter, that just let himself go so much in his career. It's just been such a downward spiral for Chavez Jr. the past 5-10 years. The past 5-10 years. Jake Paul, you know, you can't knock him. He went in there and he did what he's supposed to do. I would have loved to seen him possibly put down Chavez Jr. I would have loved to seen him possibly stop Chavez Jr. to make a bigger statement, because at the end of the day, him beating Chavez Jr. the way he was able to beat him isn't that much of a big deal, because we all know Chavez Jr. isn't a very big offensive fighter. Chavez Jr. isn't going to come to knock you out. Chavez Jr. really is going to stand and let his hands up and do everything he can to not get knocked out and not get hurt, but not win. He's not going to do everything he can to win, but he's going to do everything he can to make sure he does not get hurt or get knocked out. And I think Jake Paul saw that by signing this fight. Jake Paul saw he had the opportunity to where he can really showcase some talent, showcase some skills. And it's very easy to do all that when a guy doesn't really punch back. So no disrespect to Jake Paul, he still went in there. Jake Paul still went in there, took a chance, and beat Chavez Jr. It is what it is. It's not his fault that Chavez Jr. refused to throw punches. It's not his fault. But what's going to be next? Well, he's called out a few fighters. We all know he's been wanting to fight Canelo, which we all know that's never going to happen. Never going to happen. Chavez Jr. Jake Paul is just never going to step in the ring. But Canelo doesn't see himself like that. Even though it was pretty close, but he ended up getting a fight with Crawford from Turkey Al Sheikh. So I don't see that ever fight transpiring. But he also, which is something you got to give credit to, Jake Paul, the fact that he was able, or not able, that he's willing to go in there with Anthony Joshua, former heavyweight champion of the world. That's actually a big statement. That's actually something really, really like, whoa, dude, you're really going up there. Like, you really want to become a champion of the world. You're really taking this boxing serious. You know, a lot of people, a lot of fans are like, oh, he's just a YouTuber, he's just this, he's just that. I get that, but when you want to step in the ring with an actual fighter, a guy who's actually going to fight, a guy is actually known for knocking people out. Yes, is Anthony Joshua just a tad bit chiny and a tad bit past his prime, but still in there. It's not like Chavez Jr. Chavez Jr. was back almost 15 years ago. Anderson Silva, prime years ago. Nate Diaz, prime years ago. Both of those guys MMA fighters. Anthony Joshua is maybe slightly out of his prime, but still very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. You cannot take that away from Jake Paul if he were to step in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Do I see it happening? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. Because we all know Anthony Joshua went in there with Francis Ngannou. And we saw what happened. You know, Tyson Fury didn't take Francis Ngannou very seriously. Anthony Joshua did. He said, like, no, I'm going to show you what happens when you step in the ring with an actual boxer. Doesn't matter what kind of power you have. Power don't mean anything if you can't connect. So that's what Jake Paul is going to be in store for. Like, yeah, you have some skills. Yeah, you've been able to develop your talent a little bit. But let me show you what it's like to face a, I think he's an Olympic gold medalist plus a former heavyweight champion of the world. Now, if, which is a big if, Jake Paul were to beat Anthony Joshua, oh my God, that would shock the whole boxing world. I know there'll be people out there that make excuses that Anthony Joshua's done. He's not as good as he used to be or anything. It's such and such and such. No, 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 no. That right there solidifies Jake Paul. I would even put Jake Paul in the rankings in the heavyweight division for sure. Because Anthony Joshua is in the rankings. This will be his first fighter that's actually ranked within boxing that he were to step in the ring with. Not beat, but step in the ring with. And if you were to beat him, wow. Wow, I would not know what to do. The boxing world would literally, I want to say shut down. The boxing world would literally not know what to do with itself. The fact that a YouTuber was able to knock out or able to beat a former Olympic gold medalist and a former heavyweight champion of the world in Anthony Joshua. So guys, we don't know what's going to happen. Jake Paul wants to fight a few other guys. He is talking about Gervonta Davis. I really wish he would stop. I really, really, really wish he would stop. That is just so much a waste of time of us boxing fans. I do not want to see that. I know nobody wants to see that. Not even curious, not even slightly interested in that. Jake Paul would literally have to cut down to like 160 pounds if he were to even want to even step foot in the ring with Gervonta Davis to make it slightly interesting. And we all know he ain't going to do that. He's going to make him come up to like 180 or 190. And Gervonta Davis is what, 5'5"? Weighing 145 pounds, 150 pounds soaking wet? No. No. Let's stop that. 100% stop that. It's a waste of time. Please, Jake Paul, do not mention that ever again. But other than that, let me know, who do you think Jake Paul should be fighting next? And when it should take place. Let me know in the comments, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.